you described the rocket ship, you used the metaphor to talk about non-abiding awakening versus abiding awakening, with the idea that abiding means you're outside the gravitational field of the centering, self-centering dream state that pulls you back. So are you outside of that gravitational field?
I always hesitate to answer a question like that. And
that's why I asked it.
Yeah, and I'm still going to try to answer it. Because there isn't a sense. I don't feel like that I can say that I feel like, yes, I'm outside of the gravitational force. It's not really like that. That's where the metaphor sort of breaks down. You know, all these metaphors, all these ways of explaining things, they're just that, they're metaphors, and they do have certain limitations, right? I would say that the experience here is that I no longer believe the next thought that I have. I am not really capable of actually believing a thought that happens. I have no control over what thoughts appear. But I can't actually believe that the thought is real or true or significant. And because no thought can be grasped as real, true, or significant, that itself has an impact, right? It has an experience. That's the experience of freedom. So if somebody wanted to call that, beyond the gravitational force of the dream state, like I'll put it in my metaphor, fine. But, I'm always sort of hesitant about claiming something, because I always remind everybody I talk to, all I know is right now. I don't know about tomorrow. Tomorrow, a thought could come by that could totally catch me, totally Velcro me, totally pull me into separation and delusion. I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I have no way of knowing that, right? All I know is right now. So that's why I hesitate to say, oh yes, I've crossed a certain sort of goal or finish line, because I don't see it that way. It sounds like that in the description of things, when I'm teaching, but that's the limitation of speech. But what I really know is that I don't know. What I really know is there are no guarantees. That what may happen tomorrow or the next instant, whether I'll be deluded one instant from now, I don't know. But what I do know is that I can never possibly know that.
Okay, so I accept that you don't know about what may happen moving forward in terms of a Velcro thought may occur, but when was the last time you had a Velcro thought, looking back?
I'm not even saying I can't have a Velcro thought, but a thought can come that can cause a Velcroing, right? Mm-hmm. That can cause like an instant of grasping, we could say, of even a momentary experience of a certain separateness. I'm not saying that can't happen or that doesn't happen. What I'm saying is it does happen, but now the gap between it happening and the seeing through it is very, very quick, right? That years ago, the seeing of it and the seeing through it was there was a huge gap, right? So I'm not saying that never happens. I'm saying that gap diminishes so much because I don't even know if there's such a state where such thoughts or such moments of grasping would never arise in the human system. It seems to me that to have a human body and mind is to have those kind of experiences go through it occasionally. See, the difference though is there is the capacity within us for that gap to narrow and narrow and narrow, that gap in which we're caught in illusion or suffering or separation. And at a certain point it diminishes and diminishes and diminishes. So the gap between the arising and the disappearing, the sticky thought and the seeing through the sticky thought, they almost arise simultaneously. But I wouldn't say that I'm at some state where they never ever arise at all. See, it's just the gap gets so small that at a certain point you almost can't see a gap. I think these ideas that enlightenment is about getting to some place where nothing uncomfortable, or where no delusory thought will ever walk through your consciousness, those very ideas about enlightenment are delusions themselves. It just doesn't seem to work that way. And besides, it doesn't really matter. When that gap is so narrow that it can be seen through very quickly, all of a sudden, that's part of the freedom too, is when we realize it doesn't actually matter. Because one doesn't get caught for very long. You see what I mean? That's really part of the freedom. I think the rest is sort of selling enlightenment as something it's not, you know? And I understand that people can hear what I say and assume that. And it may even give that image that that's what it's about, or that's where it's going, or that's what abiding realization is. But I think that that's not the image that I mean to portray. It's more like the gaps between the thought and believing a divisive thought become almost non-existent.